Now more Operation Freedom with your host, Dr. Dave Janda, on Southeast Michigan's conservative powerhouse, WAAM Talk 1600. Call Dave now at 822-1600. That's 734-822-1600.
Welcome back to Operation Freedom, folks. I'm Dr. Dave Janda, broadcasting from our Freedom Bunker here at WAAM Talk 1600. Show will be up in podcast form for you at davejanda.com. Derek assures me by this evening, time short, download the show, network it to anyone and everyone you know. It's absolutely critical. The more people we have informed, the safer our country, your family, will become. About a month and a half ago, I had a guest on our show by the name of Nick Ruiz, and he's from a company by the name of Evolution Consulting. They do predictive modeling. And I was inundated with people contacting me after our interview that I get Nick back as soon as we could. And I'm very fortunate that he's going to be able to join us, and I can't think of a better time to have him join us with an election 2 days around the corner and with a stock market that's been down 9 days in a row, and it looks to be like might be circling the drain. Let me give you a little background. As the lead system architect of the Evolution 4.0 system and founder of Evolution Consulting, Nick Anthony Ruiz set out several years ago to really do what many people thought, actually, folks, was the impossible, to design a large-scale data mining system that could forecast future geopolitical and global financial events based upon linguistic analysis, in addition to other proprietary methods. In other words, folks, a collective sentiment and intention analysis engine. While many said this would not be possible or could be possible, the combination of determination, creativity, and a talent development team that has proven that it is, in fact, possible. For the last 3.5 years, Nick, along with other members of the Evolution development team, have been sharing publicly information discovered by the Evolution 4.0 system. In addition to providing a valuable level of insight to traders and investors, he has also established, many people believe, an indisputable track record of accuracy for the Evolution 4.0 system and its components. In terms of finance and economics, the Evolution 4.0 system has proven over 96% accuracy in forecasting equity and capital market trends, forex trends, as well as movements in the precious metals markets. Nick, welcome back to Operation Freedom.
Hey, Doc, thanks for having me back on.
So, Nick, let's start from a foundation, because we have shows growing exponentially over the internet. In addition to our regional audience, we have an internet audience that's enormous around the country and around the world, for that matter. So we have tens of thousands of new listeners every week. So let's start with the foundation, and we'll work from there, Nick. Educate our listeners on the Evolution 4.0 system and how it could benefit each and every one of them.
All right, Doc, I finally came up with a quick and easy way of explaining exactly what we do with the Evolution 4.0 system, and that is in a digital sense. Okay, the analogy that I use now is if you walk into a big room full of people, you walk into a party or a meeting, and you know absolutely nothing about what's going on, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to open your ears, you're going to use your five senses, and you're going to try to listen to little bits and pieces of conversations and you're going to observe body language. You're going to observe some things that are maybe somewhat unquantifiable. Okay. Now, on a digital scale, the internet has become a place where there is just so much human input and hummant, to use a military term, human intelligence, where if you can analyze that properly, okay, you can begin to make inferences of collective human intention. And that's how we've been able to be so accurate. I mean, people ask about our market trading techniques, and they say, well, do you use Fibonacci? Do you use Bollinger? Do you use technicals? Do you use Japanese candlesticking? And our answer is no. We use social engineering and social architecture and collective intention. And that's why we're able to have the accuracy that we do. So the best analogy that I really have is if you walk into a crowded room and you don't know anything about what's going on there, the first thing you do is you open your ears. And you may not know exactly what the meeting is about. You may not know exactly what's going on, but the more you listen and the more conversations you can pick up on and look at people, see how they're dressed, you can begin to make more and more accurate inferences to what, say, a meeting or a party or something that's going on is all about. And that's pretty much, in a digital sense, what we do.
So there's a rumor going on right now that just started circling around the internet, and I want your take on it. The FBI director just informed members of Congress, quote, based on our review, we have not changed our conclusions that we expressed in July with respect to Secretary Clinton, end quote. Your take.
I mean, as far as the election goes, I mean, I kind of had a prepared answer here because I did some research specifically for your show. Okay, and that is exactly what's supposed to be happening in this election is happening. And I'll be the first to say it. I'm sure a lot of your listeners are going to be very thrilled to hear this. I, being a political atheist, which you have to be when you do what we do to analyze arbitrarily, guys, Trump is going to win. And there's a reason he's going to win. Okay, and it has everything to do with social architecture and the re-engineering of a nation. Okay. I'm thinking at some point in time, either recently, now, or in the not too distant future, Hillary has to realize that she was set up like a human punching bag for him. Okay? Because if I wanted to re-engineer and re-architect a nation, and maybe perhaps condition people to authoritative tyranny, not to say that that's what Trump is, but it's certainly his technique and his style, I would take someone that represented the old system, the obsolete system, and I would parade her out there like a human punching bag for him to beat on. And that's exactly what he did. And now you have guys like Eric Prince coming out of the woodwork, whom I've done a tremendous amount of research on. Obviously, Navy SEAL, basically the owner of a private army. I mean, am I the only one here that kind of vaguely remembers all that kind of stuff happening, except I had a hard time understanding it because all the film was in black and white and in German? Okay? Mm-hmm. So the reality of what's going on, guys, is very simple. Trump is going to win because in order to re-engineer a nation or re-architect a nation, because the two-party system currently is obsolete. The way decisions are made, even at the top level, is completely obsolete. You need chaos. And Jeb may have said it best. You know, talk about foreboding and foreshadowing. He said during the debate, Donald Trump is a chaos candidate. Michael Moore, somebody I never thought I would agree with, said he's the equivalent of a human Molotov cocktail that voters get to throw at the system. He's a lot worse than that. He's the equivalent of a human atomic bomb. Is what he is. And by going ahead and electing someone like that, you just got flag-waving red, white, and blue Americans to vote for, really. You know, you can look at guys like even Duterte in the Philippines. I call it the new management team. Mm-hmm. Okay? So as far as what Comey's doing with the FBI, guys, fear is setting in. And it's not like it hasn't been seen before. You can go all the way back to the Roman Empire. You can go back to Germany in 1938, and you have a number of factors telling you who's going to win this election, one of which is the market, capital markets, another of which is metals markets, okay? And now you're starting to see people turn. And there's only one thing that can motivate people to turn the way they have, fear. And that is them making peace with the fact that, oh, my God, we're going to elect a tyrant who, for the first time in presidential history, has threatened to jail his opponent. So that's fear setting in. That's capitulation that he's going to win. And it's that kind of chaos, Doc, that's required to re-engineer a nation, okay? And the gentleman that you had on before, I just had such a great time listening to him and talk about a pedigree. Wow. He was talking about psyops. And I said, you couldn't script an election more destructive than this. And I've often joked about it. I said, you can give me, here's $10 million, Nick. Script an election that's designed to completely wipe the chalkboard clean to re-engineer a nation. I couldn't do a better job.
So right now, Nick, there are folks that are listening that are saying, no, wait a minute. All the polls are, so take everybody through this, because this is what's going to be pushed down their throat. All the polls are saying that Hillary Clinton's going to win. Mm-hmm. Yet your model says not so much, correct?
Absolutely.
Now,
absolutely.
So Nick, why are these polls that are so scientific? I mean, we're told they're so scientific, Nick. Why are all these polls saying that Hillary Clinton's going to win?
Because of the elation effect when she doesn't. Okay? When it's that we have overcome, they're building Trump. They're building him an army. Okay? When all the polls are saying he's going to lose, it's the American tradition, right? Root for the underdog. Mm-hmm. The feeling of accomplishment in his voter base and just how emboldened his voter base is going to feel on the other side of this election, okay, is going to be tremendous. It is the exact opposite reaction and the exact opposite demographic that felt emboldened, empowered after Obama won. Okay, now one of our favorite sectors to invest in, we use kind of a broad-based term, we call it chaos. Okay, Smith & Wesson, Strum Ruger, Taser, FLIR, LRAD. On a broad level, folks can take a look at PPA. Okay, that's a defense sector ETF. The exact opposite demographic. So basically, law enforcement, military, and civil servants have basically been eating a big poop sandwich for 8 years under Obama, right? Mm-hmm. Now you're going to have Trump win. What's the social blowback of that? What's the effect? Okay, you're going to have a million times more Fergusons. You're going to have a million times more Baltimores. Okay, there's a reason he's going to win, and that is because that's what's needed is chaos. And he is so far outside of the norm as far as what people expect of an American president that's where major changes can be made. And look at the help he's had. I mean, as clever and as lovely a story as the idea of Julian Assange being, kind of this ne'er-do-well rogue miniature website owner, hacker, patriot type of guy. He's part of the new management team. I guarantee you he's got funding to be doing what he's doing. He is part of a new global management team. Same thing. I mean, you can say the same about Snowden. They set Hillary up like a bowling pin, okay, to just get absolutely flattened. And I don't know if she's realized it. I don't know if anybody in that campaign stopped and went, oh, my God, we've all been set up like bowling. I mean, that's just the way it is, and that's how you affect change on a nation, and that's what Trump is. He is a dramatic change, and I think he's the first, Doc. He's the first. He's the easy-to-follow guy. He's the one that can rally, and I understand a lot of your listeners are conservative and right-wing, and that's fine, but I tell you the way it is. All right, I think he's kind of the first. He's a litmus test. How much are people really willing to accept a leader like him? Because somewhere behind him is a more refined version and a more refined version, and that's how you re-engineer a nation, and that's exactly what's going on.
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned our demographics. We have a fair number of conservatives listen, but it's interesting when they did the demographics on this show, it's my understanding that it was equal between far left and far right. Huh. Yeah, it's interesting because we go after everybody, right? We go after the Republicans, we go after the Democrats because they're all owned by the same criminal syndicate, as we've outlined before and you've made mention of. What's going to happen now, Nick, I can just hear it, is the mainstream media, who has already proclaimed Hillary Clinton the winner before the FBI announcement, is now going to say, see, now here we go. The second time, which I don't quite understand how Comey was able to go through 650,000 emails that were found on Anthony Weiner's computer in 5 days. I'm not sure how they did that, but we'll see. But they're gonna claim that Comey, who, by the way, a half hour ago was work of the devil, that he even reopened this last Friday, is now the savior, that he's given his blessing on this now twice. So this is the reason why, and it's going to be used as a huge psyops in the next 36 hours for the bought-off mainstream media and the sycophants in the media and political circles and all those, as you said, that are against this new boss in town, new sheriff in town. They're going to use this, Nick, to drive voter suppression to levels I don't think we've ever seen before.
I think it's going to have the exact opposite effect. I think it's going to draw out more and more voters for Trump, and that very well may be what it's designed to do.
So you believe this is to get people off a dead center that are in the middle or even anywhere that might sit at home and say, you know what, I can't take this lawlessness. I can't take this chaos.
Now go out and vote for the tyrant, please. Thank you. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
Well, it's interesting because you might be too young to remember this, but I'm not. Back in 1980, when Ronald Reagan was running, I was a young dude back then, and the Sunday before the Tuesday of the election, the polls were out, and they were saying that Ronald Reagan was 9 points behind Jimmy Carter. The mainstream media, which was essentially, there was no internet, there was no, we were into the Pony Expressway back then, but it was all, this is over. It's over. I mean, it's absolutely, Jimmy Carter has this locked. It's done. It's going to be a landslide for Carter. And what happened, Nick?
Exactly what's going to happen this time is, could you write any more reasons? Talk about saving all the dry powder. And I told you last time I was on your show, I told you he was going to do that. He was going to save all of his, to use a gamer term, he was going to save all his headshots for the very, very last, because he understands and his campaign understands how short attention span theater works. So now you have people, okay, she's a Satanist, she's this, that, and the other thing. All they've done is motivated more people to go out and vote. Now, if you think, let's say there's a new management team that's taken over the planet, okay, and I'm not going to speculate as to who, what, or how that might be, okay? How would I motivate people to go out and vote for tyranny, really, is what it comes down to. And I don't say that in a negative sense. Trump is necessary. From a social engineering perspective, he's necessary. He's not good or bad. He's necessary. How do I go out and make it so that people voted for that? So if they ever have anything to complain about, it's going to be, you guys voted him in, all right? I'm going to throw everything I can. Mainstream media, I'm going to throw every possible thing I can, out at the very last second to motivate people to go out and vote, okay? So when all of a sudden it's Donald Trump, the tyrant, okay, is now president of the United States, hey, you guys voted for him, okay? And I know it sounds like a very cynical approach, and it sounds, it sounds dark and nasty, and it is. That's what it's coming down to, is that the two-party system in the United States no longer favors the progress of a nation. So how do you get rid of that? You destroy it. And I said this from day one. I said, you can sit me down. And I'm a devious guy. I have a very devious mind. I have great intention, but I have a very devious mind.
That's why I like you.
You can sit me down. You can go, Nick, here's $10 million. I want you to script an election that'll take out the media, that'll take out both parties, that will cause enough chaos that we have a reason to institute a completely new system. And Doc, I couldn't sit down. Okay, you can give me all the Red Bull, the coffee, and the Marlboro Reds you want. I couldn't. All right, I couldn't do it. I mean, people ask me why I don't watch entertainment television, because there is not a thing on television that's more entertaining right now than reality. You couldn't write it any better. Just to give you an idea, I'm going to try to jam this in. I know we only have a half hour, but you had a gentleman on earlier who I really enjoyed listening to. He was talking about illegal immigration.
Yeah, Mike Cutler. Yeah.
And he made some really, really good points. To give you an idea of the research that we do and how deep we go, okay? One way to look at what's going on is say, okay, Trump is going to build a wall, but does that really solve the problem?
Mm-hmm.
Not really.
Right.
But it's something very visible and very easy the right
symbolic.
way.
It's symbolic.
It's purely symbolic, 100%. Mm-hmm. So, and it's very visible. Trump is a very easy to understand candidate. He's almost a cartoon of himself, let's face it. Okay. Mm-hmm. And he's going to build a big wall, because a big wall is visible. And, if there are people on side of border A that you don't want on side of border B, any imbecile can wrap their head around, we're going to build a big brick wall. Mm-hmm. But does that solve the problem? And the answer is no. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's a Band-Aid on a bullet wound is what that is. So now we have to go, well, all right, well, how do they really play? Because illegal immigration really is a problem. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, how are we going to fix that? Oh, I don't know. If I was really devious, here's something I might do. I might say, come on in, keep coming across the border, come on in. I might collapse the U.S. dollar with a riled up right-wing, gun-bearing Republican base frothing at the mouth on nationalist rhetoric. See what I mean?
Got it.
That's a solution. A wall is symbolic. So that's the level of research that we do. And sometimes it's unpleasant to hear, and I realize that, but that's what makes our research, I think, and has been proven better than anything that's out there.
And that's not just you speaking. That is the truth. That is the truth, Nick. Folks, we're speaking with Nick Ruiz from Evolution 4.0 Technology. It's interesting, our conversation. Mike Cernovich, who is probably one of the most powerful people on social media, just tweeted, it actually falls into exactly what you're saying, the FBI must be afraid of a Clinton win, won't hold her accountable. Voters must. It's on us. There you go, Nick.
Yeah, that's what it's coming down to. I mean, you saw it in Germany in 1938. Okay, once they realized that Nazi power, that party was going to rise to power, it's like I call it the point of no return. And I just wrote about this in Wirehouse. Trump passed the point of no return. He's an elite company at this point. Win, lose, or draw, he's already done his damage. You can't unhear a year's worth of campaign rhetoric from him. He's done the most dangerous thing someone with a public platform can do, and that's spread ideas. And it happens to work a lot better because he happens to be right. His presentation style tends to be a bit of a baseball bat to the head.
Right.
Okay. And that's fine. That's what's needed now, because I'm sure there's a more refined version of him out there somewhere that's really dangerous. But he's kind of the front man now for a completely new system. And, at the end of the day, that happened in Germany in 1938. It's when they go, oh, my God, he's going to win. Maybe now if we turn, he'll be nice to us. He won't. Mm-hmm. He's the poster child for psychotic behavior. I mean, I like him, but, he's one of those guys that if you screw him, I don't know how to put this any other way, I hope I'm allowed to say it on your show, you screw him, he is a master of holding a grudge. And I've known people like him personally, and they're terrifying because it's like they have a little psychological list that they keep. They don't forgive. They punish.
Well, and actually that's true of the Clintons as well. All I have to do is look at the number of dead bodies around them over the decades.
They are amateurs compared to the new management team taking over. And if you guys listen to anything I say on this show, you think the bankster syndicate and this, that, and the other thing, you think they're terrifying, guys? Some of the linguistics that we've seen. And one thing I would like to add in here real quick is, first of all, the new management team, the new global management team that's taking over, that we've seen signs of linguistically, makes them look like rank amateurs.
So what do folks do with this new management team? How do they protect themselves from this new management team? But let's say financially, does that mean they should be purchasing hard assets, gold, silver, real estate? What do they do?
The new system, guys, is going to be metals backed. You don't have to be an economist, a rocket scientist, or a brain surgeon, pardon the pun on this show, to really see what's going on. You see China, you see Russia, you see India, you see those BRICS nations, they're all hoarding gold and silver. They're not doing that because they're bored and they have nothing better to do. That is the new unified currency system. There will be a unified global currency system. And I know the more devout are going, you're freaking out and everything. It's the natural progression of economics to an increased speed of information world. Okay. It's a level global capitalist playing field, and that's what they're all about. So I would be purchasing gold now. But speaking of, I get to make a radio smug face. You retweeted a couple of our predictions when gold dipped down to $12.50. I said, that's give me that thank you gift. And I said, by the time I'm on your show, it'll be $1,300 again. And surprise.
There you were.
There it is. Another smug face is the Fed no rate hike. Called that one. You retweeted a couple of those.
Yep.
We hit that one out of the park. Bitcoin back above 700. We hit that one out of the park. It's one right after the other now. So we really have the evolution system absolutely tuned. But the reality of the situation is I'd be in gold. I'd be in silver. Real estate, Doc, as much as I'd love to tell you, and I've had conversations with people in that field, I am not an expert on that, so I don't comment. When I don't know, I say I don't know. And in the instance of what, a real estate play that might be advantageous, we have some preliminary research in the field, but not enough for me to say certainly publicly on your show with your tens of thousands of listeners, A, B, C, or D. So our play at this point is just keep using the markets. And by the way, guys, the market's already voted. Okay. You look at the S&P, you look at the NASDAQ, you look at the Dow, you look at the metals market, guys. That is, keep in mind the U.S. domestic equity indexes, that's a bit of a national reaction. They're telling you who's going to win this election. Okay.
So, Nick, this week, what happens after the election in the markets?
I think there's a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy with Trump, is that enough people have run their mouth and said he's going to be the worst thing to happen to capital markets. It works like a lot of systems on this planet. If you get enough imbeciles to believe something, it'll happen. Okay, so on a Trump win, it's blood on the street. It's cataclysm. How, to what extent, I don't know. But look for metals to run. I hear the music in the background.
Nick, I'd like to thank you for everything you do. Again, now, how can folks follow you, and how can they sign up for your service?
Okay, evolutionconsulting.world. Evolutionconsulting.world. Yes, it's a .world extension. Visit us there. We have all our stuff up, the 2017 stuff for pre-order, our standalone and our subscription products, and you can follow us at Evo_consultant on Twitter.
Nick, I'd like to thank you for everything that you do. You truly provide a service that is second to none. It is the epitome of getting out in front of the herd. Folks, you're listening to Operation Freedom. I'm Dr. Dave Janda, broadcasting from our Freedom Bunker here at WAAM Talk 1600.